Hi, my name is Hannah Staub. I will be presenting on Enterprise Rent-A-Car versus Uber. I have a really unique perspective because I was an early adopter of Uber and I worked for Enterprise for about 4.5 years. So I got to see a lot of change in that time, which I'm happy to share with you guys today. So, a brief history. Enterprise is the traditional company that we will be focusing on today. It was founded in 1957 by Jack Taylor out of a Cadillac dealership. It is still family owned to this day. His daughter runs it. They have grown to over 8,000 locations, and they're the largest rental car company in the United States. Their next biggest competitor would be Hertz. They did $36.1 billion in revenue in 2022. And some other brands that you might be familiar with and not realize are part of Enterprise are National, Alamo, Enterprise Car Sales, Fleet Management, and Truck Rental. There are a few others in there as well, but those are probably their most well-known brand additions, I would say. Um, Uber is more of a modern company. It was started by Travis Kalanick and Garrett Camp in 2009. They were in Paris, could not find a taxi, and they thought, wow, this would be a great idea to have a mobile app that would get you a taxi right away. And that is how Uber was born. Their app launched in actually 2010. They just did 7.6 billion rides last year, which is just an astronomical number. Their revenue grew by over 49%, up to $8.6 billion. So that's a massive amount in a short amount of time. So when we're comparing and contrasting the value disciplines of each company, they are a little bit different. Enterprise, a really big focus for them is customer intimacy. A lot of their business model is really built around creating long-term relationships with their customers to create repeat business. They're very appearance forward. They dress up every day, suit and tie. There's handshakes, smile, eye contact, and back to the customer service piece. They're willing to be flexible and make compromises to ensure that their customers are really happy and will come back long term. Uber, their big focus is product leadership. Their app is continuously updated. Um, they have talked about their launch of their self-driving cars in 2022, which was like a very big thing in the news. They have created a lot of safety features that you can share your rides when you're feeling unsafe, call 911, confirm who you're driving with. They've expanded out into Uber Eats and their delivery expansion, and they plan more in the future. Um, and when we are comparing and contrasting their primary customers, that I would say probably a really good market segmentation to focus on for them is probably age. Enterprise focuses on more of an older crowd. They're looking for, that corporate renter, maybe some insurance replacements. That's a big, a focus for them. Families, for the most part, the renters are just typically older. You have to be 21 to rent anyway, but the bulk of those in the early 20s are going to be insurance replacements. And Uber, they're marketing really towards the younger crowd, 20 to 40. They're looking for the fast paced hustle and bustle type of person that's looking for someone quick to drive them, to get them out on the road. And how each company builds their relationships with loyalty programs is also pretty different. They originally were on a very similar model. Enterprise is well known for their Enterprise Plus program. It's a free to join program where as you continue to rent, you get points. Those points can be unlocked for discounts and upgrades and free rentals. Um, it's been successful for them in that aspect. Uber had a very similar model until 2022, which was like a free system that they could earn points and get discounts. In 2022, they did move away from that into an Uber One subscription service. That was not without a little bit of controversy. It's $9.99 a month to unlock some of the benefits that they pretty much had before. Some of the patrons, some of the perks are 5% off, eligible rides, 10% off Uber Eats, support that other people don't have. But they clearly went that way for a revenue standpoint. But it's definitely a little bit different than how enterprise operates, clearly. So both companies have kind of dipped their toes into AI and how that affects how they're marketing their business to their customers. Enterprise is very proud that they are able to transmit data about the vehicles, gas levels, odometer readings, different various things about the vehicle back to the rental branch, so that the rental branch employee is a little bit more hands off. I believe some of that came from COVID, more hands off experiences. They have touched on their dive to autonomous cars as well. They've done digital check-in for a very long time. And in 2019, they partnered with the Institute of Transportation Engineers, and they pledged their effort to really become a leader when it comes to addressing mobility issues. I thought that was pretty cool. Uber, they really, their big focus and their big marketing strategy is just, their easy to use platform, which that really has to do with how they've utilized technology. Their customer service is AI-led, which has led to quicker responses, which make customer problems kind of rapidly go away. All of their pickups, it automatically tells the driver which is the fastest route. Again, it creates customers that are happy, that will repeat the business because they're getting an effective service. And then another really cool thing that they have is that the app really lets them know what features their drivers are using and what they're not. A nice example of that is they had a system in place that would let the driver know, or it would let the app know that the driver was planning to end their day soon and would only populate rides that were close in their area. They were finding out that a lot of their drivers were not using this portion that they had rolled out. And through that data that they had collected, they were able to put a big initiative on it. And now a ton of their drivers use it and have reported higher satisfaction levels with their employment, which I thought was cool. When we compare and contrast each company's ability to organize for digital maturity, it looks a little bit different. Enterprise has been around for a lot longer. They were here prior to technology being such a big focus within a company, and they had to take a little bit longer of a time to reach that digital maturity. They were still doing paper contracts up until a few years ago. They have continued to improve this process. They rolled out an e-card tablet where that took out those paper contracts. The customer was able to pre-populate things prior to even coming in. They also have a program called ACE for their car sales segment, where the customer pretty much can buy their car virtually. And they were the leaders when it came to online booking. They were one of the first rental companies to really utilize that. Uber's look was a little different. They were born with the intention and idea to be digitally mature as soon as possible. They came out in a tech-savvy era. They are continually adding value and innovation to their apps. They've added Uber Eats directly into the Uber app, and the ability to add on other travel accommodations such as hotels and reservations. They're expanding different offerings to people that have electric vehicles. They're trying to entice them to come in, to boost up their fleet, to be a more environmentally friendly and tech-forward fleet of vehicles. And they've also added on voice ordering and autonomous vehicles onto their plate. So they are a company born out of the tech era, and as long as they keep up with that, they're going to continue on with their digital maturity. So when we're looking at some key events that help these companies digitally transform, for enterprise, they came up with a program called OnRamp Concierge in 2012. If you look at any rental vehicle, they have a QR code typically on the driver's side. This was originally rolled out in a pilot program of about 20,000 vehicles. They found success for that. Within the QR code, that gave their renters and the branch rental employees different information about the make and model of the vehicle, maybe some offers that are happening in nearby gas stations. This was met with a lot of positivity, which they've continued on to this day. Uber, for them, it was really the launch of their app in 2010. Prior to being an app, that is really what is the bread and butter of what they do. They've always been an online company, and it's the first of its kind to connect drivers and riders via their phone. They also have GPS location in there, so it brings the driver directly to you, so you're not on the phone with them describing where you're at. And then it was actually very similar. They rolled it out in a very small test group, not 20,000. It was just a few vehicles in New York City and San Francisco, and that's how they tested it out. Each company uses analytics in a different way to kind of make personnel choices. Enterprise is very data driven when it comes to their employees' performance. They're up against sales numbers and metrics, which are tracked daily, monthly, and yearly. They are pretty much everyone starts out in the management trainee program, and in order to get anywhere else in the company, you have to meet those certain metrics in order to graduate out of the program and then continue on. And then Uber, they collect data on every single ride that their drivers are performing. You'll see the star ratings when you get into an Uber. That really has to do with the driver. If they don't have a certain amount of stars, they're no longer allowed to drive for the company. If their stars are lower, they won't get a certain amount of highly sought after rides, or they just won't get any at all. Those who do reach high amounts of stars, they are going to get the best rides, the best timing. And then there's other free incentives as they gain those stars, such as free online tuition, dent coverage, different incentives like that. And that's all based off of customer reviews and feedback. So really, in conclusion, Enterprise is an older company, but they have done a surprisingly great job of keeping up with technological changes. Of course, there's always room for improvement, probably their speed of which they have done so. Using paper contracts until the last 2 to 3 years is a really good indicator of that, something that they could have moved forward on quicker. Uber is really a company that was born in the tech age. They are on top of it when it comes to changes in their digital maturity. They're innovative, and they pledge to continue to make those changes, which will really make them a leader in the segment that they are in. Both of these companies have a slightly different target audience. Some of it overlaps, but both of these companies are embracing AI technology. And there's value for both companies in the automobile space. And I really do see in the future both of these companies having a long history and success record. So thank you. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch my presentation.